Somewhere, deep in the Wisconsin wilderness, there's a place where woods meet water, and time meets space rather unexpectedly. Take a left, a right, then head straight until the road runs out. Upon reaching the river, sound your horn twice, flash your lights twice, then wait for someone to come for you. Someone will come for you. But don't be afraid, they're a friendly bunch. Welcome to Bend in the River.
Good afternoon, listeners of Riverbend. It's been a mighty weird couple of days. Thankfully, the storm damage seems to have been mostly contained to the non-residential side of town. But that's about the only good news. Frankly, Bend just keeps getting stranger and stranger.
Come on.
Over the past 24 hours, we've had reports of all kinds of odd activity.
There it is.
Mr. Holtman is still, I repeat, still screening free movies down at the cinema. Meanwhile, our hawkish friends, Stars and Stripes, or should I say Hank and Harold, as they now prefer to be called, are just wrapping up their peace parade. I repeat, peace parade. In addition, an abundance of dead birds have been falling from the sky for the past 3 hours. George was found mumbling to himself on an island while knee-deep in the aforementioned dead birds. And oh, did I mention that the river's still flowing backward? Speculation is running wild, but the cause of this strange behavior is...
Come on, I can't be more than a mile from the station. It doesn't matter. Even listening to Lucy doesn't settle me down anymore. Okay, David, let's get your wits about you. Think. What do you know? George is still sick, but at least he's with Jory. Jory, who apparently blames me for all of this. Is she right? Should I have left when it seemed like I had the chance? No, because Stuart would still be here. Stuart, who is a time traveler too. I should have known. He practically told me in the cave.
You and I have more in common than you realize, love.
Jeez, why is it so hard to pay attention when you're tied up in a cave and being held at knife point?
Mr. David! What are you doing?
Hey, Luann. Just sitting here trying to get my bearings. Here, thank your brother for letting me borrow his transistor radio. Tell him it's not working any better than mine.
Thank him yourself. He's down by the river. Besides, you gotta see this.
Wait, you left Herbie by himself down by the river?
Officer Olson's watching him.
I'm not sure that means he's safer.
Come on, you gotta see what's happening.
Whoa.
Crazy, right?
Hi, Mr. David. Look at all the people.
Careful, people, careful. You get caught in that current, and you could get yanked under.
Hey, Herbie.
Officer Olson is teaching me how to do crowd control. Stand back, people, stand back.
What in the world is everyone doing down by the water?
It looks like they're all drinking from the river water. I wonder if it tastes better now that it's going backward.
Mr. David, you seem to be the only adult who's immune to whatever weirdness has gotten a hold of this town.
Hey! I take exception to that, little lady.
Olson, even you have to admit, you seem to be taking your duties a bit more seriously than ever before.
Now wait a minute. Are you implying that I wasn't taking my duties seriously before?
Don't get me wrong, you've always been enthusiastic about your duties, but serious? No way.
Well, I'd say that checks out. Maybe I'm not immune after all.
So what's the reason, Mr. David? Why are you the only adult that doesn't seem affected? There's gotta be a scientific explanation.
And why in the world are they all drinking from the river?
Yes, why indeed?
Elmira!
Your question has a simple answer. Since the river's begun running backward, people have come to believe the water possesses magical principles.
Like what?
Oh, the usual. The ability to become invisible.
Invisible? Well, that explains Mr. Chatham's skinny dipping. Hello, Mr. Chatham!
You can see me? Look away!
As well as the ability to fly.
Oh. Ouch, that looks like that hurt.
And some say, humorous as it is, the water has granted them the ability to read the future.
Read the future? I'll see you guys later. Heck, I probably really will see you guys later. I'm already doing it. I can read the future.
Herbie, we're supposed to be doing crowd control. Be sure to keep 3 good steps away from the water. I'd better follow after him.
Get back here, Herbie. If anyone deserves special powers, it's me. I'm the oldest.
Well, Elmira, by the looks of things, these magical powers don't seem to be working.
Of course not. Only a nitwit would believe in invisibility, flying, and most of all, the ability to read the future. Unless you're a trained professional, that is. Thankfully, I am. And I'm here to tell you, David, that your future involves coming with me.
Going with you? Why?
I want to show you something.
Look, Elmira, I really don't have time. What was that? An earthquake?
I think it is more than the earth that is quaking. Come on, it isn't much further. Back at the cemetery, you were thinking of leaving Riverbend, isn't that right?
That was complicated.
And what about now? Now that things are even more complicated.
Well, it's like you said. I have a job to do. I'll leave when I'm finished.
That might not be an option. Take a look.
There's got to be 50 people out on that bridge. I think I even see Laszlo and Stanley Holtman out there swinging hammers. What are they all doing?
Demolishing it, I believe. They've already blocked the rest of the roads leaving town and burned all the boats.
But why would they do that?
You could ask them, but I certainly wouldn't get in their way. It seems everyone has it in their heads that nobody should get in or out of Riverbend.
My God, I'm running out of time.
David, listen. Focus. Remember what you said to me, that George would be better off without you.
I don't remember saying that to you.
Said it, thought it, whatever. I'm a psychic. I can't keep track of what people actually say and what I simply intuit. The point is, I have a way to help George and put an end to all of this. But I need your help.
What do I have to do?
It's simple, really. You have to move 3 steps back and 2 to the left.
3 steps back and 2 to the left?
David, you have to trust me. Didn't I steer you right that night in the cemetery?
If you say so. 3 steps back. 1, 2, 3.
And now 2 to the left.
Okay. 1, 2. Oh! Wow! Elmira! You tricked me!
No, I trapped you, David. You were close, though.
Don't tell me Stars and Stripes are behind this.
Okay. I won't tell you.
Elmira, please.
I wish I could say this was for your own good, David. But it's not. It's for everyone else's. Trust me. I can see the future.
Back in the interrogation room, overcrowded alongside this piano again. It has a nice symmetry to it, don't you think, Stars and Stripes? And I see you've got a drum.
Getting some doves if we can ever get them back into their cage.
All right, you doves. I know peace is a path and all that, but I might have to rethink my philosophy if fellas don't get back in that dadgum cage. Daisy, David, I wish these damn doves were as easy to catch as you were.
Yes, about that. Why did you trap me?
A concerned patriot contracted our services.
Jory.
And once we found out what a threat you were to these precious birds, to our dear hammer and sickle here, the stars of the peace parade, well, it seemed like we ought to do our patriotic duty and so.
Patriotic? Let's just back up. You think I'm responsible for the birds falling from the sky?
Maybe it's time to call in our resident scholar.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me.
David, how nice of you to join us.
Join you? Officer Olson, why is it that every time I join you, I'm put in restraints?
David. I've given your situation a lot of thought.
Since we just saw each other at the riverbank?
I'm as surprised as you are. My brain seems to be firing on a few more cylinders than before. I'd say it's made me an even better officer of the law. Volunteer officer of the law. But commending me for my efforts isn't why we've brought you here today.
Why did you bring me here?
David, you came here with one job, to help build the bridge. Now, no one would accuse you of not being busy since you've got here. After all, you helped us track Stewart, tried to catch the prime snake, polka'd with an inordinate number of our women, and had your nose in every bit of trouble we've experienced lately. But the one thing you sure haven't done is get that bridge built.
I'm only an intern, Olson.
In fact, if you ask me, since you've been here, event after event has prevented progress on that bridge. The emergency siren started blaring. Then the river began running out of control.
You're blaming me for acts of nature?
Is getting sick.
And illness.
The bridge blueprint's burning.
That was before I even got here.
No! That was before I apprehended you. I don't know when you got here. In fact, I know very little about you other than the fact that I've never trusted you. So I decided to do a little digging.
And what did you dig up?
Well, I called down to Madison to have a little chat with that grad school advisor of yours. And do you know what I found out about you? Nothing. And do you know why?
Olson, I can explain.
Because the phones wouldn't work.
Oh. The phone. Of course, must have been the storm.
That's what I suspected. But the phone lines aren't down, David. You can make calls so long as they're local numbers here in River Bend. But we can't seem to connect with anyone outside of the town. The bridge, the phones, it's as if someone is trying to cut us off from the rest of the world.
Or something. Listen, Officer Olson, can I just say with all the weird things going on around here, you suddenly sounding confident and competent may be the most unnerving?
I know, right? Something strange is definitely afoot.
Is he in here?
Jory,
Hink and I caught him just like you asked.
Yeah, easiest thing in the world once we let Elmira work her magic.
All of you out, now.
Jory, this is official police business. If you could kindly step outside and let the men folk...
Out now!
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, David.
Jory, how is George doing? Is he okay?
Stop. Don't say another word. Here's how this is going to work. I'm going to take a seat here. I'm going to ask you questions. You are going to answer them succinctly and to the point. No evasions. If you don't, I'll get up, walk out of here, and sick Officer Olson on you. That's the deal. Got it?
Yes.
First question. Is your name really David?
Yes.
Are you really a graduate student from Madison?
No, but...
Stop. Next question. What did you do to the real intern?
Nothing. Honestly. Come on, Jory, you know me.
I thought I did, David. And that's the point. You've been lying to all of us.
But I'm not lying now. Yes, the real intern came. It was the night of the hunt for Stewart, remember? He got scared off, and I just let everyone go on believing I was him. It's the truth, Jory.
Stop. Last question. Who are you really, David?
I'm someone who wants to help.
That's it. I'm out of here.
Jory, wait.
You knew the rules, David. No lies, no evasion.
Please, just give me a chance. Jory, please, do you hear that? If you walk out that door and leave me here, it's going to keep getting worse and I won't be able to help.
Then just answer my question, David. Who are you? What have you done to George?
Oh, Jory. Please, please, believe me. All I want to do is help George. This is not an evasion. This is not a lie. You want to know who I am. More than anything else, I'm someone who wants to help get George better. And when I thought I was the problem. Like you think now, I was ready to leave town. I really and truly was. I would have done anything. Made any sacrifice to help George. But I don't think I'm the problem anymore. Now I think I can help fix things.
Then why won't you just simply answer my question, David?
I have. Now wait. I told you I'm here to help. If I told you any more about myself, it might cause further harm. Not only putting George in danger, but you as well. I know that sounds crazy, but maybe you can take what you know about me and try to believe. Can I take the fact that you aren't stomping out of the room as a yes? Jory, how is George?
Horrible, David, just horrible. He's coming in and out of a fever dream, ranting and raving, talking about this Oxbow Effect, which is odd since the first time I ever heard that phrase was from you up on the bridge. Can you explain that coincidence? Or is this another thing you just can't tell me about?
They're coming closer and closer together. Okay, Jory, here goes nothing. When something gets in the way of a river's flow...
I know. I explained this to you. The river bends to adjust its path. Make the river bend too much, you get an oxbow. A part of it breaks off and gets left behind. But oxbows don't cause earthquakes. Oxbows don't cause the river to run backwards. And they don't explain why George is at home muttering that we're all going to be trapped.
I think that's because the oxbow George is talking about doesn't involve the actual flow of the river passing through town. I think it has to do with the flow of time.
Time?
Call it the river of space-time. I think some events here in town have caused it to bend over the years. And now it's had to bend so much, it's getting ready to break our town off and leave it behind from the rest of the universe.
People burning boats, blockading roads, George retiring from the bridge project.
And the phone's not calling out of town and the radio signal weakening. The Oxbow Effect is doing everything it can to isolate Riverbend, to get ready to break off from the rest of time and space.
How do you know all of this?
I don't. Not for sure. But someone tried to explain it to me without creating any more trouble in the process, like I'm trying to do to you.
And who is that?
Stuart.
Did he explain how we bend it back? Keep it from breaking?
No, but we need him to do it.
Time for another hunt.
Yes. And this time, I think I know the proper bait.
You let us out of here. You have no right to keep us here. We have privileges under Geneva Convention. You call ambassador.
Quite a bust, Uncle Mayor. We caught 2 Soviet spies in a single swoop.
Kudos to you as well, my boy. I might just consider voting for you for constable in the next election. I assume you and David have a plan for what to do with them?
Now that we have them here on the bridge, it's only a matter of time before Stuart comes looking. You 2 men from Ogdenville pose the greatest threat to Riverbend, not to mention Operation Elf.
Of all the missions to fail.
For all we know, you could have already interfered with the communication systems to our subs.
To have been caught by such a
moron.
Stupid, sleepwalking mayor.
Ah, not so sleepy anymore, my friends. Since the river got all turned around, I haven't been able to sleep a wink. Made it real easy to find you two lurking around the power substation.
Under Article 36 of the Geneva Conventions, I demand to speak to our ambassador.
Geneva Conventions? Why, here in Wisconsin, we haven't recognized Lake Geneva since all those Chicago tourists took it over.
You imbeciles! What is the point of keeping us here?
I need to talk to Stuart. A threat to Operation Elf is the best way to get his attention.
You speak of wild man who interrupted our mission.
Niet.
To bring encyclopedias to the world.
You're still sticking to that cover story, huh?
It is true. Your wild man does not care for encyclopedias. For months, we have been trying to make radio announcer into encyclopedia customer, but always sales call aborted due to wild man in bushes.
Yes, he's always at the radio station. He's protecting Operation Elf.
Not only radio station, my American friend.
What's that supposed to mean?
Many times we attempted to approach radio announcer at home residence, but always bushes. And always wild man in bushes.
You've been to her home?
Residential location is classified. But who better than men of Ogdenville to decode secret location? After all, we have complete access to Encyclopedia Letter D.
Also to local phone book.
So you're telling me Stuart's mission isn't just to protect Operation Elf. It's to protect someone else.
Now you are catching on. And that is just the start of what we know. Perhaps we arrange a deal. Perhaps you free us in exchange for information.
A deal? David, allow me to take it from here.
So you are chief negotiator for the town of Riverbend?
Negotiate? After all you've done, there will be no negotiation here. Trespass through our town. Terrify our citizens into weekly blackouts, attempt to hijack the radio station, disrupt communications with U.S. submarines, sell us Soviet-leaning encyclopedias, and on top of all of that, inexplicably burn the blueprints for the very bridge, still unfinished, upon which we stand this very minute.
If I may, nephew.
Jump on in, Uncle Mayor. This is your town. Give them an earful.
Actually, if we're coming clean and if this singes on the cuffs of my pajamas are any indication, then there's a reasonable chance, a very reasonable chance, I'd say, that I might have been partially or perhaps entirely responsible for that one.
Uncle Mayor? You burned the bridge plans?
Well, in my defense, in my dreams, which was very vivid, I might add, I was making a delightful plate of saganaki. Right as I shouted, "Opa!" I woke myself straight from the dream and noticed it wasn't a plate of cheese I was lighting on fire, but the blueprints. It could have happened to anyone.
You let me take the fall for that?
Well, you don't get reelected to 4 consecutive terms without learning how to help others find their way onto their own swords.
Can we get back to why Stuart's always trying to protect Lucy?
At first, we thought your local wildman was foreign operative, but our sources confirmed he had no political affiliation with any country we could identify. It seems he dropped out of nowhere.
Dropped out of nowhere?
Unfortunately, our efforts to obtain intelligence on why radio announcer means so much to him bore no fruit.
You fellas were right.
Encyclopedia salesmen are always correct. But to what specifically are you referring?
I can't believe it. I chose the wrong bait. I'm as bad as Hank and Harold with their peanut butter. If I'm trying to reach Stuart, you're not the right people to talk to. But I know who is.
With the rash spreading, I figured, what could it hurt? So I went down to the river and got some of that magic backwards water and I took a bath in it. The rash doesn't look all that different yet, but it definitely smells different. Although that might just be the new soap I got to say. Am I still on the air?
Yes, Dale, you have the airwaves.
Well, geez, you never let me go this long before.
Dale, I've opened the phone lines to anyone who might need to call in, and, well, you're the only one who is calling. But to all you listeners out there, this is an extremely extended daytime edition of Insomniac's Interlude, and if you need to call in to look for lost loved ones or to check in on anything, we have the airwaves open for you. Anyone? Anyone?
Does that mean I get to keep talking? Because I haven't even told you about what happened with the boil yet. Guess the old saying's true. Boils are meant to be broken, or however that goes.
David, what are you doing?
Sorry to burst in on you like this, Lucy, but there's no time. Bye, Dale. She's got to go.
David, we have dead air playing now.
Better dead air than being dead ourselves. Listen, Lucy, this is life and death. Riverbend needs our help.
This is how I help people, by giving them a chance to talk.
Except who can hear you? Nobody outside of town. Heck, I couldn't even hear you when I was by the water. Got any callers today?
Why are you angry with me?
Tell me about Stuart. Why does he spend so much time around you?
Stuart? Operation Elf, of course. Someone needs to protect the project.
I don't think it's the project he's most concerned about.
David, you're sweating. You're all over the place. Why don't you sit down and catch...
How did you meet? When did you meet?
The military deployed him here to assist...
When, Lucy? When?
I guess I really can't say. It must have been more than 10 years now.
Over a decade? The Oxbow's been building for that long. Did he come with a team? Alone? Did he bring, I don't know, papers or something authorizing his mission?
But he knew all about it.
And you trusted him?
All right, David. I know the world is turning upside down right now, but there's no reason to be angry.
I'm not angry. Fine, I'm a little angry because everything is falling apart and we might not be able to fix it. And I'm angry because if we do fix it, I'll probably never get to speak to you again. And I'm angry because that maniac got to spend over a decade with you and all I got were a few phone calls and a single night.
Well, on the bright side, how many people can say their first date was chaperoned by a local constable and 2 Russian spies?
You called it a date.
And you aren't yelling anymore. Now, David, what do you need me to do?
Can you use Operation Elf to send a message?
To the submarines?
I was thinking to someone a little closer to home.
Of all the places to meet, she wants to meet by the river, the most dangerous place in town.
There are more dangerous things in town than the river, Stuart. Like us.
David! Where's Lucy?
She's not coming. I asked her to send that message so you and I could finally have it out.
She wouldn't do that.
She was more than willing once I explained to her that you and I were the problem. But you've known that all along, haven't you? You knew where I was from. You told me back in the cave. You said that I was just like you. At the time, I thought you meant crazy, but you meant from the future.
From the future? Come on now! I thought you should stick with your first guess, David, because that really does sound crazy.
Not as crazy as mentioning President Kennedy 2 years before he's elected.
Oh, David, you must be a real hero at Trivial Pursuit.
Trivial Pursuit, which won't be released until 1979. More than 20 years from now. So yes, I am, if I do say so myself, and you just gave yourself away again.
You think you're so clever.
You've been here for so long that you've bent this place near to the breaking point. Then I show up, I add a little extra weight to the town that was already on the brink. And now it's up to us to keep Riverbend from snapping apart.
Aye, congratulations. You've been here for weeks, and you're just finally figuring things out.
Give me some credit. I figured out hours ago that you were a time traveler. But what I couldn't figure out was how you had done it. How you had traveled back in time. But then it came to me and it seemed so obvious.
Oh yeah? What's that?
It's like you said. You and I are alike. I lost someone I loved. Stand to reason it must have been the same for you. I think that's the only way the river allows us to travel back to the past. So what happened to her, Stuart? How did you know Lucy?
Don't you bring her into this! Don't you dare!
Enough, Stuart! Don't you see what's happening? There isn't time to deny it any longer. What was she to you? A friend? A relative? Your wife?
A voice!
A voice?
The only voice. For 147 days. 147 days trapped. With no one else, well, no one else alive anyway. No functioning radio. Nothing but the ping of sonar telling me over and over and again that I was all alone. That nobody was coming.
My God. You were on one of the submarines.
Torpedoed. Left for dead. But not everyone was dead, eh? Nah. One lucky fool left alive. Trapped in a steel tube with the only friends and families known for the last 6 months laying dead all around him. David, do you know what you have to do to stay alive? For 147 days trapped in a sub?
I'm really worried it involves eating your fellow crew members.
Jesus, David. You have to find hope. Just the smallest ember of hope to catch fire in your mind. Keep you warm. Even if it's nothing more than a recorded voice.
Lucy.
Yeah. She was the voice of the emergency protocol system. The only company I had. For over 4 months. She saved my life. Sometimes a voice through the speaker can keep you sane. I don't expect you to be able to understand that.
Believe me, I do.
After I was rescued, I had to find out whose voice it was. They explained those recordings had been made half a century ago. I knew she was dead, but still wanted to pay my respects, so I learned her name and I came here.
Only when you got here, she wasn't dead.
And then she didn't die when she was supposed to. Somehow, me coming back here saved her. Is it because I delayed that the first time when we met? Did something I say made her change her mind and she decided not to get in the car that day? All that matters is that I saved her, right? Like she saved me, and then I had a purpose. Keep her safe. Keep her alive. No matter what they said.
No matter what who said, Stuart. Who? The voices?
Yeah, I understood. I understood all right, David. I had to lay low. I had to live in the woods. Not cause any more disturbances, yeah? Sometimes they whispered about the Oxbow, and other times they tried to trick me into going home.
I heard them too. My voices sounded like the Apollo space crew.
Right. Believe me, David, you stick around long enough, you'll hear all sorts of voices around here.
It's happening again. This is the worst one yet. Come on, Stuart, we've got to go.
I'm not going anywhere with you.
We don't have a choice.
Sure I do, David. You said that I bet the town. But you added, now how did you put it again? Added that extra little bit of weight. Maybe removing that extra little bit of weight is just enough to...
Stuart, let's think this through, okay? Stuart? The tree, it's breaking. It's going to fall. Stuart, get out of the way! Stuart, help! I'm trapped under this tree and the bank. It's sinking into the river. Stuart?
Thanks for pushing me out of the way, David. You saved me life.
Please, Stuart, help. You're not gonna let me drown. That's not who you are. If it was, you'd have left me for dead in that cave. Please, Stuart. We have a chance to help Riverbend together. You don't have a choice.
Oh, you're wrong, David, I do. There's always a choice. Letting nature take its course, that's a choice. If it brought me here in the first place, it can take you wherever it wants next. Wherever you're meant to be.
Stuart, nature can't fix this. But we can. Or we can try at least. Please, Stuart, the water's rising.
Grab my hand!
Thanks.
Right.
Stuart, I have people I love here too. But you have to see what we're doing to them. George, I've seen what I've done to George.
But I'm not hurting her. I'm the one keeping her alive.
By protecting her from the men from Ogdenville?
Oh, by protecting her from time. She was supposed to die 13 years ago. I read her obituary myself. She's supposed to be dead.
Am I?
Lucy!
Oh, no.
You left the radio station.
No, you weren't supposed to hear that.
David, can you give us a moment?
Oh, you were never supposed to hear that.
Sure.
Stuart?
No, I can go back again. I can recross the river.
Stuart.
Undo this. Make it never happen. It can still be okay.
Stuart.
Oh, Lucy, please. Please, no.
If what you said is true, if you're somehow keeping me alive, then you must go. It's not right. No one deserves such a privilege, or such a curse.
No, Lucy, you weren't supposed to hear that. You were never supposed to hear that. Just think about it. If I leave, what's gonna happen to you?
I'll go back to the radio show and let time run its course.
And when time runs out?
More dead air, I guess.
Look, Stuart. I don't know what's going to happen when we go back. But I know what's going to happen if we stay. We don't have a choice. Riverbend will break. We will destroy the town. We have to leave, Stuart. We have to let them go.
I didn't say I was coming with you.
But you've decided to.
How do you know?
Because the river, Stuart. It's slowing.
Do you think it'll turn back around?
I imagine it will. Once we reach the ferry landing.
What? What is it?
It's like she always said. It's another beautiful night in Riverbend. Here I am. Back where it all started. The ferry landing. A chance for one last quiet...
Here we are!
moment. Stars! Stripes! There you are! How'd Operation Tell George and Jory We're Leaving wrap up?
Well ahead of schedule and under budget. You know, the American way.
Thanks, guys. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I couldn't have done it without you.
And we couldn't have neutralized the Soviet threat without you.
It's nice to see your personalities are getting back to normal.
Look, David, I don't want to tell you your business or nothing, but are you sure it's a good idea to let old Stuart just sit over there, you know, all loosey-goosey like?
Hey, I can hear you!
Just give him some space, guys. He'll be all right. He just needs... time.
David! There you are!
David, you did it!
George! Jory! You came! Now all we need is Officer Olson and the...
Did somebody order a 1957 Chrysler Imperial?
You found it! Wait, is that Herbie at the wheel?
He let me steer, but he wouldn't let Luann work the pedals.
I only wanted to do the brake.
A 1957 Chrysler Imperial seemed like a pretty specific request, but as fate would have it, we had this old girl just gathering dust at the impound lot.
Of course you did. You impounded it yourself.
Did I? Well, a busy man like me can't be expected to remember every car he impounds. Want to explain to me how you think you're going to drive this across the river?
You'll see soon enough. For now, though, Olson, I just want to say thanks and wish you well in your law enforcement career.
Illustrious law enforcement career.
Psst, Herbie, what Luann?
Look, over there by the water.
Stuart!
He looks so
sad.
Maybe we should say something to him.
Like what?
Well, Jory, I guess this is goodbye.
David, I may still not know who you are, but you're exactly who I hoped you would be. You came through. And before you give me a hard time about locking you in the boat shed and having Hank and Harold trap you, just remember it was you who encouraged me to take responsibility for my own future.
That wasn't what I was going to say, actually. What I was going to say is that meeting you and George at this time, in this place, well, I feel really lucky. Just awful lucky, you know. Oh, here comes George.
David, you're tearing up.
Which is why I'm going to keep this professional. Mr. Sunby, sir, thank you for what has proven to be quite a high-impact educational opportunity. It'd be an honor to shake your hand.
David, you're the best intern I've ever had. I'm sorry, son, but you're getting a hug. Oh, that reminds me. As I've been convalescing, I've had a chance to catch up on my correspondence. And I received a rather peculiar letter from a crazed person in Madison representing themselves as my actual intern and claiming you to be, and I quote, a time-traveling, fraudulent graduate student with no appreciation for the nuances of truss bridges.
Who in their right mind would ever pretend to be a graduate student?
Even if you were a fraud, at least you're our fraud. You've come to feel like family.
Just like family.
Okay, I think I've reached my threshold for manly not crying. Time for me and Stuart to hit the road. Hey, what are Luann and Herbie doing over there with him?
Mr. Stewart?
Hey, kiddies.
We heard you're going away.
Well, that appears to be the case.
We just wanted to say, this town won't be as interesting without you around.
Oh, thanks.
Stuart, it's time.
Hey, I've been ready, love. For someone who keeps saying we urgently gotta leave, you're really dragging out the old goodbyes.
Okay, yeah, I get it.
Will we see you again, David?
Absolutely. And I can't wait. Come on, Stuart, time to go. Now, if memory serves, we just turn on the ignition. Turn on the ignition.
Well, we gave it our all, David. Guess we're stuck here.
Wait! I think you forgot someone.
Rykard? What's he doing here?
And what's that around his neck?
Is that...
the prime snake.
Found this guy fighting his way up the current. Sure seemed like he really wanted to get to you.
But why?
I'll explain that one once we get out of Riverbend, eh?
Hank, I think this is the biggest gosh darn snake we've ever carried.
But a docile fella anyway. We'll just drop him in the back seat of the car, how about?
Not sure I see the point, since the car won't start.
Now that we got the whole gang back together, why don't you give it another try, David?
Here goes nothing. What do you know? Now we try it again. 2 honks. 2 flashes. And we wait for Earl the ferryman.
Hey, how's that for service?
Evening. You the fellas looking for a ride? Good God, don't move. You got a giant snake in the back of your car. That's my loaner.
He's with us.
Yeah, snake's with us.
Well, as long as you're taking him away from Riverbend, I guess it'll be all right. Now then, if the 2 of you, the 3 of you are ready, drive aboard.
I thought you said this ferry couldn't handle a car anymore.
Why, the ferry's made for cars.
Well, this is it. Goodbye, everyone.
Until next time.
So, that's it. Goodbye, Riverbend. Since we got the car this time, might as well turn on the radio.
And so we say goodnight to another beautiful evening here in Riverbend. Seems a little quieter than in recent nights, a little emptier. On the plus side, the river's managed to turn itself around. Callers far and wide report that the phone lines are as crystal clear as ever. And we're all just so darn glad George is on the mend, and it seems like we ought to be celebrating.
You mind turning that up a bit, David?
I'm feeling a little older today than yesterday. A little lonelier, too. Got this crick in my neck from sitting in this radio chair for so long. And even with all you kind callers out there keeping me company, I still can't help but feel like...
Fiddle with that tuner a little, will ya?
I think we're losing her.
The lines are lighting up.
Keep trying, David.
Fungal condition?
Oh, I'm gonna miss her show.
I know. Me too.
Out here in River Bend.
I think we've lost it for good. So, who do you think will get home first?
Well, it depends. How far forward are you going?
The 21st century.
Oh, guess I'm getting home first then.
Where do you think the snake's going?
Well, judging by that double brine, time and a place you and I ain't never gonna see.
That's what I would have said about 1958 Riverbend, too.
Where were you headed for the first time you took the ferry, anyway?
My grandfather's funeral. George's funeral.
Hopefully you'll make it back in time to say goodbye.
I think I already did.
And so concludes our time in Riverbend. Thanks for joining us here, in this place where woods meet water and time meets space, rather unexpectedly. Thanks to Blugold Radio, the Chippewa Valley Writers Guild, and the Eau Claire Community Foundation. Signing off from Riverbend for the last time.